Thank you for watching the course selection for the 2021-2022 school year for our rising ninth graders Q&A session presented by the Bartram Trail High School school counselors, administration, and registrar. You can find all of the forms that we're going to talk about today in this presentation, as well as the Bartram Trail High School course catalog on the main page of the Bartram website. Please make sure that the student is reading the course catalog to view course descriptions before choosing an elective. And then you can also get to all of the forms that we're going to talk about today by clicking on the More Resources class scheduling website. When you get to the More Resources class scheduling website, those are all of the forms that we're going to talk about today. The theme of this Q&A is there is a form for that. There's some really great resources for you with what to expect for ninth grade. We have a YouTube channel, so on our YouTube channel is What to Expect Ninth Grade Year. Please take a look at that video. There's also a college rep panel video that's really informative to students about what college reps are looking for in a high school schedule. There's an extraordinarily detailed email that was sent to parents. Students, you should read that email. Parents, if you haven't already, you need to please share that email with your child. And then there's also the course registration webpage, which has all of the resources, presentations, and forms on it as well. There's some what to expect for high school resources out there as well. On our YouTube channel, there's lots and lots of videos, including one on the Bright Future Scholarship. Take a look at that video if you have any questions about the Bright Future Scholarship. There's also a video detailing the process of how students can choose their electives in HAC. Students do not have to meet with a school counselor this year. All rising seniors are meeting individually with their school counselors. A meeting is not required for other students. The following classes should be on a student's schedule their ninth grade year: English, some kind of science class, some kind of math class, HOPE, which is a graduation requirement. HOPE is half health, half PE, and HOPE is going to count as not only a graduation requirement, but also at Bartram, their online requirement as well. One practical performing or fine art of the student's choice, and then two electives of the student's choice. Those electives could be anything from a world language if the student qualifies, an academy course, any other elective that we offer. There are lots and lots of classes that we offer at Bartram that count as performing practical or fine art classes. Some of them are academy courses. Remember, students need 1 credit of practical performing or fine art for high school graduation. Any additional practical performing or fine art classes that students take beyond that 1 needed for high school will count towards elective requirements. Elective classes are classes beyond the specific courses required for graduation. So for instance, students would need algebra, geometry, and 2 additional math courses for graduation. If students take additional math courses beyond those 4, they're going to count as an elective. Students would need 1 credit of performing practical or fine arts for graduation. Any additional fine art credits that they take beyond that would count towards electives. Students have the option of taking either world culture geography or AP human geography, depending on what they qualify for, as an elective freshman year. So that would count as an academic elective. Any additional science courses would count as an elective beyond the required classes needed for graduation. Students only need to take a world language if they are college bound to get a bachelor's degree. In order for a freshman to take a world language class, they also have to be enrolled in English 1 honors at the same time. If a student chooses a world language course without also being enrolled in English 1 honors, then the world language course will be removed from their schedule and another elective will be put in its place. Students will begin choosing electives, including their practical performing or fine art that they need for graduation, after February 23rd in the student's Hack account. The student needs to have a total of 7 courses listed in their Hack account by March 5th. No more or no less than 7. So make sure the students make sure that you're counting and choosing wisely. There is a video detailing the process on our YouTube video channel. Please take a look at that video before going into Hack to choose any of your electives. Students can only choose electives in Hack, and that's it. All other courses will be locked. If a student needs to change any other course with a lock symbol next to it, then they're going to have to fill out a form. Sometimes students disagree with a teacher about their recommended course for next school year. If that's the case, the student needs to fill out the core recommendation reevaluation form. That form is located on the course registration website. For instance, if a student was recommended for English 1, but they want to go into English 1 honors because they think they can handle that rigor, they need to fill out the course reevaluation form on the course registration website. Please don't email the teacher about the recommendation. The teacher cannot change it at this point. The only way to get it possibly changed is by filling out the core reevaluation form on the website. Let's say that a student wants to take a standard course instead of an honors course. Then same thing, student has to fill out a core reevaluation form. That form is located on the course registration website. So any kind of change that needs to be made to a locked class, that change has to be requested through the form. Phone calls, emails, none of that's going to work. Everything has to go through a form. Once a student takes biology, the science courses after biology is a choose your own adventure game. So a student after biology should think about what their post-secondary plans are, what they plan to major in college if they are going to go to college, and then choose their science courses based on that planned major. If a student wants to change a science course that's recommended, they can do that through the core reevaluation form. For instance, if a student is taking Algebra 1, or Algebra 1A, B, they have to be in environmental science. If a student is taking Algebra 1 honors, they can choose to be in either environmental science standard or physical science honors. If a student is taking geometry honors, then they can choose to take either biology honors, physical science honors, or environmental science. So if a student would like to change the science course that was recommended, then they need to fill out the core reevaluation form on the course registration website. If there is an elective that is locked on the course recommendations, then students need to fill out the elective change form on the course registration website. The lottery for the Academy was held on February 18th, and students should be notified by March 1st via email whether they were accepted or not. If they are accepted, the courses will appear in Hack by March 1st. So you should be able to see the Academy courses in Hack after March 1st or by March 1st if a student was accepted into the Academy. If you got accepted into the Academy, but you changed your mind and you no longer want to participate in that Academy, you need to fill out the Academy drop form. That form is located on the course registration website. Again, we cannot accept any changes via phone calls or emails. Please use the forms. If a student did not get into an academy and they are zoned for Bartram, there is a wait list located on the Bartram Academy's website. Students cannot request specific teachers at Bartram Trail High School. Students cannot request specific lunches at Bartram Trail High School, nor will schedules be changed to accommodate teacher requests or lunch requests. If a student is looking through the course catalog for Bartram Trail High School and they don't see an elective course that is interesting to them, but there is an elective course on Florida Virtual School or St. John's Virtual School that is interesting to them, they can request to take that course online and have a virtual lab added to their schedule. Students can only have one virtual lab added to their schedule per year. A virtual lab is not a study hall. Students are expected to work on their virtual class during their virtual lab. If a student is interested in taking an elective through Florida Virtual School or St. John's Virtual in replace of a Bartram elective, then they need to do two things. Number one, fill out the virtual lab request form, which is located on our course registration website. And number two, they need to request the course via either St. John's Virtual or Florida Virtual by June 10th with an August 10th start date. Please remember, middle school students, that you're going to need to change your physical school of enrollment in your FLVS account from your middle school to Bartram at the end of the summer. We do not recommend that students take core courses virtually. What I mean by a core course is English, math, science, social studies. We don't recommend that. However, if you're going to go against our recommendation and take one virtually instead, then it is the same process as taking an elective virtually. Remember, you can only have one virtual lab on your schedule. Virtual labs are not study halls. Students are expected to work in their virtual class during that virtual lab time. If a student would like to take a core course virtually, then they will need to do two things. Fill out the virtual lab request form located on the Bartram website and request the course via either St. John's Virtual or Florida Virtual by June 10th with an August 10th start date. Again, middle school students will need to change their physical school of enrollment in their FLVS account from the middle school to Bartram late in the summer. Students certainly have the option of taking Hope over the summer. However, please remember that this summer is unfortunately only 8 weeks long. That means that a student is trying to complete a 36-week course, which is a graduation requirement, in just 8 weeks. If students still want to go ahead and take that chance of finishing the course, then they would need to fill out the elective change form to have Hope removed from the schedule and another elective to be put in its place. Please remember that middle school students will need to change their physical school of enrollment in their FLVS account from their middle school to Bartram late in the summer. If a student changes their mind about a course after HAC closes for them on March 5th, they can still fill out an elective change form if they change their mind. That elective change form is located on the course registration website. 9th and 10th grade students cannot get a reduced or modified schedule. They cannot do co-op, which is a work program, and they cannot be an intern. If a student scores a level 1 or a level 2 on the FSA ELA this year, then they will be placed in a reading course for the 21-22 school year by state mandate. Students and parents don't have a choice in this. If a student is currently in a high school course in middle school, so algebra, geometry, physical science, biology, and if that student earns a final grade of a C on their high school transcript for those courses while they're in middle school, they'll be placed in that course again at Bartram so that they can improve their GPA and they're not starting high school with a 2.0 GPA. Some things to keep in mind when choosing your classes for high school students. Number one, this is the student schedule. It's not the parent schedule. So students should be the driving force of what they're choosing to take on their schedule and what they can handle. Please keep in mind that the transition to high school can be difficult for some students. So please don't take on more than you can handle. Don't sacrifice your mental health to take on more than you can handle. If you want to go to college, you will. You can get into a state school with a high school diploma and then transfer to a university. So if you have a high school diploma, you can get into college if that's the path that you want. Please don't sacrifice your mental health to take on more than you can handle. And parents, please remember that this is your child's schedule, not your schedule. Students are going to take the following steps by March 5th. Remember, if you need to make any changes to any locked classes, those changes can only be made through a form. So please don't call, please don't email. Those have to be made through a form. If you're waiting to see if you've gotten into an academy, then you might want to wait until March 1st to do this, just to make sure that those academy classes are listed. The first step that you're going to do, students, is you're going to watch the video showing you exactly where to go to find your course requests. Then you're going to log into your HAC account, students. This cannot be done through a parent's HAC account. When you're in your HAC account, you're going to click on the classes icon. Once you see the classes icon, you're going to see a schedule tab. Click on that schedule tab and you're going to count your course requests. All students have to have 7 classes on this course request schedule tab. No more, no less. If you have more than 7 courses, then you're going to look and see which one you don't want, which elective class you don't want, and you're going to click and you're going to fill out the elective change form on the course registration website to drop one of those extra electives. If you have exactly 7 classes on your schedules tab, then and you're happy with all 7 classes, there's nothing else you need to do. You are all done. If you have exactly 7 classes, but there's changes that you want to make, then you're going to need to fill out forms in order to make those changes. If you're looking at your schedule tab and you're counting your course requests and you have less than 7 classes, then we're going to need to add some classes to make it 7. So if you have less than 7, count how many you have, figure out how many you need to make it 7. Next, you're going to go to the Request tab. You're going to scroll down until you see Electives. You're going to click Edit. You're going to choose enough electives, including one performing or practical fine art, to make it 7 classes. Remember, the directions are in the video. Then you're going to look at the Schedule tab. Now, at this point, you should definitely have 7 classes listed. Make sure, do you have a math? Do you have a science? Do you have an English? If yes, great. If no, then you're going to fill out the course recommendation reevaluation form, and you are going to add the class that you have to have, and you're going to drop an elective. Now take a look at your 7 classes again. Take a look at that English, that math, that science. Are you happy with those? If you want to change them in any way, you're going to fill out a course recommendation reevaluation form located on our course registration website. Now take a look at your other courses beyond English, math, science. Do you want to change those in any way? So if they are a non-academy course, you're going to change them by filling out the non-academy elective replacement form. If they're an academy course, then you are going to fill out the academy drop form, which is also located on our course registration form. All of these forms are going to be open until the last day of school, but HAC is going to close the requests that you can choose on March 5th. Parents, please remember that this is the student's responsibility to do this, not your responsibility. So by all means, help them with the process, but this is something that they should be doing physically on their own. And please remember that this is the student's schedule, not the parent's schedule. So the student has got to come to Bartram, then they've got to walk these 7 classes and go into these 7 classes. So they need to take ownership of their schedule for high school. Just as a review, any changes that you would like to request to be made of any of your courses or any of the locked courses, they have to be requested via a form. So you can get to that form through the Bartram Trail website, scroll down until you find the class selection page, click on that, and then you're going to get to the course selection website. Scroll down until you see the forms. You're going to see the course recommendation reevaluation form. So if you want to request a change to English, math, or science, you're going to use this form to request that change. If you want to make a change to Hope, a performing fine art, any elective, you're going to request that change through the non-academy elective replacement form. If you've decided that you don't want to be in an academy, then you are going to request that change through the academy drop form. If you want to take a virtual lab or a class virtually with a virtual lab in place of a Bartram class, you can request that through the virtual lab request form. Please remember that any changes have to be made through these forms. So calling, emailing, we can't make changes that way. All changes have to be made through the forms. Additionally, it's not an immediate process. When you fill out the form, you're not going to immediately see it in HAC. It will take a little while. So if you filled out the form and you've submitted it, we have it, but we are working through 1,000 requests at this point. So please be patient, and you don't need to fill out the form multiple times for one request. Hopefully this answered your questions. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it.